Welcome back to High Art. Today I have a drawing for you that I did the other day. As usual, I started out with a rough sketch of some kind of alien creature. He actually started out kind of cute, as you can see. He's got his tongue out and he's got a big old eyeball, but definitely did not end up being cute. I did a super rough sketch and I just went straight into line work because I like how he was looking. And this one is actually going to be a lot longer because I took a lot of time doing the background and I added a whole nother character over on the side that you'll see later on. This is one of the drawings, or one of the more recent drawings that I'm super proud of. I think it turned out super good. I like how he ended up looking. Here I messed around with a bunch of different eyeballs. These ones turned out looking awesome. And I keep doing this weird like black line thing through the eyeballs on the scarier creatures. If you see a different video that I did a little while back, I did kind of the same thing for him, but I think it makes it look really scary. I'm starting to do the teeth here now, which actually took me a minute to figure out, but I ended up getting it. Had to shorten the jaw there a little bit. It wasn't lining up right. And I think it worked doing the gums first, because there's always different ways of doing it, but on this guy, I mean, yeah, he already is looking so much more creepy than the sketch did. And once I did put those big teeth on him and stuff, I started getting inspiration for what I wanted him to, what the background needed to be and what I wanted him to be doing. It was kind of going for like an alien type thing, like the movie. A skinny body, because that's all I do. Super skinny guy. Big long creepy arms. And eventually when I get down to the hands, I tried making the hands like human hands, and then I took the thumb away and I just made it kind of like 4 fingers hanging, and I think that looked more alien. Because why would an alien have human hands? I mean, it doesn't make very much sense. Just working on all the muscle structure, trying to get to look nice. Here I'm working on the hand, as I was saying. It took quite a few tries, but I really like how his hands turned out. I think they looked really good. Right here was the mess up. That does not look right. So then I went back and I tried to make it look like it was more at a side view. I always have to remind myself, not everything has to be seen. You can kind of just hide fingers behind other fingers if it's at a right angle. And you can see I have a thumb on him right there, but I'm about to get rid of that here in a second after I do the other hand. And I literally just layer via copy the hand, and then I rotate it, and I kind of make it a little bit bigger and stick it on the other hand and just get rid of the thumb. And it works. I mean, I don't know if it's how it's supposed to look, but that's how I made it look. See, here I am copying it over, and I'll erase it and just kind of connect it up. I think it works out. And you can see I try and add a thumb, and I look at it and I'm like, well, it doesn't need thumbs. And see that, I think that turned out looking pretty cool. Some more little dots all over him. Bunch of little lines for all the details. And then I tried to work on a different leg stance. Originally I was just gonna make him just standing there straight, but now that he was super creepy, I wanted him to look like he was kind of walking forward. And I made the legs way too short right here. You saw I did that with the arm a minute ago at the beginning, but I ended up grabbing the whole thing and kind of shrinking it down and moving it up right here. And then I fixed the legs. I always tend to zoom in on it, and then I make the ligaments like too small and it just doesn't match. I just gotta remind myself to zoom back out and actually look at the full thing. And I'm doing that now here. Then I go back in and I'm sketching again. Here I'm trying to decide what feet to do. I was thinking of doing kind of like a bunch of toes, like super splayed out like that, but then it didn't really work out. So then I tried to go for this like heel thing with a with like a big nail on the back, like sticking out super sharp. But then I stepped back and looked at it, and I was like, that looks like a high heel. He looks like, yeah, see, he looks like he's about to go to a fancy dinner. He's a chick. So then I end up taking off the little spiky bit on the back. Now that I'm looking at it now, I think it looked alright. Definitely looked like some kind of spiky thing, but at the moment I thought it looked like some high heels. You see I'm trying to do it again right here. And then I step back and no, that looks stupid. So I just made him flat. Some more lines for details. And he's getting close to being done. With the color, it kind of took me a minute to decide what I wanted him to, what color I wanted. I was gonna go for like a darker green. Here I'm like adding blood droplets a little bit early. But after I color it, I'll go back in and I add a new layer on top of everything. That was the blood. And that really helped out because I was able to make it look like it was like on top of the blacked out lines. See, I was going for like a green. And I thought more of a pasty color. I ended up finding the color that I thought looked pretty cool. Doing some shading now. I was gonna just make, he kind of, once I started making those little circles like darker, I was like, his head looks like the moon. So then I decided to add a little bit of color into them. Gotta do the yellow eyes because they look super creepy. And this part I really enjoyed doing with the mouth. I thought it really looked creepy as soon as I was done with it. I thought it looked perfect. The whole process of making this guy was super fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And I love how he turned out. Definitely one of my favorites that I've done so far. I'm just adding some more highlights to the front part of him now. And later on I add like some kind of light source. Just to add some kind of glow to both of the characters. And see, now I'm doing the blood on top of all the layers, so it's kind of like dripping out. And this is also pretty cool because I could like get rid of the layer and make it not bloody and then show the blood, which looked pretty cool. I think I'll do it here later on a little bit. But at this point I was still kind of just messing around with it. I didn't know exactly what I was making. But then by the time I finished coloring him completely, I really just went, I had a full picture of what I wanted it to look like in my head. I don't know why I shaded it in different sections like this. I think I just wanted to pay attention to each one more. Right here I just completely didn't use a clipping mask and I just started going over everything, adding some lighter spots to him, contrast out the dark. And then I added these darker shadows to show like his hand was in front and stuff, and on the back side of his body and in all the folds underneath his neck, the back of his head. And then some more fun with blood spots, make it nice and gory. And after I covered him in blood, that's when I decided, I was like, well, he has to have some kind of victim near him. Because, I mean, just him being covered in blood was cool. But then I was like, well, I need to add a background, put some like blood on the walls and stuff. And then eventually I was like, well, he has to have somebody that he messed up. See right here, I'm flipping through all the things. It looks pretty cool when you do that. I love doing that. This is when I start working on the background. I was going for like some kind of like mining tunnel almost, or like an underground like secret lab type of thing, like a government facility. trying to make all these stupid straight lines right here. They're not perfectly straight, but it is looking fine. And I wanted there to be like these pillars, some kind of like support beams going up to the roof all the way down. So you see I'm curving them right here to try and make it look kind of like a pillar. And then curving it up at the top. And then I'll do like these lines at the bottom to show that it's a floor. This is this is the one I've spent the most time on. Also the most layers, which was super helpful to do. And I actually kind of named some. You can see I've named one Blood. You'll see later on when I start the other character that I was naming it other stuff. He's definitely horrific, that's for sure. He looks so scary. I love how he looks. Here I'm trying to decide what I wanted the walls to be, and I ended up thinking white was better, but kind of like an off-white. To make these look like pillars going up. And then add a little bit of shadow on each of these to make them look like they're kind of popping out of the wall. Then I forgot that I have a pillar right behind him, so I had to go back in, which was kind of annoying. Put in a pillar here. As you see, it kind of took me a minute to fix it. I came in and erased that line. Actually put him in the scene. At this point, I kind of got sloppy with the floor. I wanted to do like some kind of a like striped pattern, like kind of like almost like little speed bump type things. I kind of just threw down some lines and kind of made them look like it. They ended up working, but I definitely think I could have spent more time on them. I knew I wanted like some kind of like white and yellow or black and yellow striped pathway going down. And towards the end, I like kind of rounded it instead of just straight lines, and I think it actually made it look like some kind of bump, which looked nice. And this is one of my favorite parts of it. I decided to add these like signs. Like this one's like a beware sign. Like they were working on like creating this alien, or maybe they had it in captivity. I just wrote in some exclamation points and then made like a little outline of him. Like they would have in like front of a bathroom or something, you know what I mean? Some alien writing. Or just a different language. A little warning symbol. And then over here I decided that there should be some kind of like, feel like he was walking towards like a door. That's like off the screen. So I thought there should be some kind of like mechanic to open up some door that's out of view. So I went in and started making this door. I don't know if any of you have played Rust, but I play a lot of Rust, so I kind of got the idea of like the keypad and then the green and red light. Tried to make that circle over and over. I could not get it. Just had to copy it. I always forget I can do that. Added some blood on the walls, make it nice and gory. And see, now that I added that blood to the wall, I was looking at it and I was like, there definitely needs to be some kind of person. This is when it got kind of difficult and challenging, which is good. I needed to challenge myself in the drawings because I could have just left it there and I thought it looked really cool. But then I decided to draw some kind of like dead person laying against the wall. So I just was finishing off the background, added some shadow to the back of him, add some shadow on the floor, and just small details like shadows around all the little drawings there and stuff. And then this is when I started trying to make the dead guy. So this took me a long minute to figure out, just because the proportions of like him being slumped over on the wall and like all torn apart and whatever I was trying to do. And I went through so many different sketches of what I wanted him to look like, where his feet would be, and right there he has little midget legs and it wasn't gonna work. But then I kind of liked how the leg and knee placement was, so I erased and then started working off of that, and then that looked all right. But then I was like, oh, he's tiny. So then I thought that it looked all right, so I started doing an actual outline of it, like my finished sketch. And I yet again made it small because for some reason I just make everything tiny. And then that's where this guy's face came from. It took me so long to figure out. It was so difficult. And then I noticed it was too small, so I made him bigger. And this is when I actually started getting the legs right and where I wanted the feet to be. I ended up getting rid of the background to try and actually look at it better. And then I got a pretty decent sketch. I was pretty happy with this right here. So then I just lowered the opacity, deleted the old one, and then this was going to be my finished one right here. Hands so difficult yet again. Kind of hated how that hand looked. Thought there should be kind of a belt right there. And now that I'm looking at it, like earlier whenever I was editing all this down, that belt is going straight through his leg, which does not make any sense, but that's how I kept it and that's how it is in the finished one. So have fun staring at that for the end, till the end of this. It's horrible. And then yet again, I made him way too small. His head is probably about the size I want it to be, maybe a little bit bigger. But his legs were too small, so here I just rip him in half and kind of make it a little bit bigger. Go back in, some more details. And I thought this was the finished one, but boy was I wrong. Yet again, have to make him bigger, because oh my lord. Then eventually my girlfriend came in here and she said that I should probably have him like had chunks bitten out of him or something to make it look like he was actually getting messed up. And I was like, that's very true. I didn't even think about that. So that made it a lot easier because I was able to just get rid of one of the arms completely, the one on the left that I was having trouble with the hand and everything. And after I did that, this one right here is the finished one. It actually started working out, except for leaving that belt where it is because it's not right. But like most of my drawings at this point, I was kind of getting tired of staring at it, which I guess I should probably just step away from it and start another day, but I for some reason can't do that. I always do all these in one sitting. But I mean, this one took me probably about 4 or 5 hours. Usually they only take me about 2 hours though to finish, because I mean, I just sit down and start drawing, and then before I know it, it's done. And I'm just like, well, that's done. It's not like I try and speed through it. I'm always happy with what happens. But on this one for sure, this is the longest one that I've taken my time on. And I think it paid off. I love how the finished result came out. Just doing some rough coloring and shading on him right now. Skin tone was super hard to do. I couldn't find the right one. I still don't think I really chose the best one. And I don't love how this guy looks or his face. I mean, he looks like I mean, you can definitely tell he's a guy that's leaned up against the wall. See, and I think at that point, that's the point where she came in and told me that he should probably have his arm cut off. See, so I erase it. And I go in and try and make his shirt kind of torn off. Had some lumpy meat coming out. Get that blood color from the wall over there. Then I just switched back because I needed that pink for the arm. And then I decided a big chunk could be out of his shoulder right there. A little more meat hanging out. Make it nice and pink. A little glisten on it with that white. And then just put blood everywhere. Nice dripping from his leg down there. Drip down from his arm. Try to really focus on like where the blood would be coming from throughout this whole thing. Like from his mouth and stuff, how it's dripping down his body. Add some to his face, some splashes and everything. To this point, I was really happy with how he looked in the whole scene. Had a nice shadow behind him. Check all my layers. I was just going through all my layers, making sure everything's where it's supposed to be. And then this is where I wanted to add that kind of like can light source that would be in like one of these kind of bunker-esque hallways. And just for like a nice light source to go on them and show where the shadows are and everything. And why the shadows are where they're at. Then I had a little bit of a glow on both of them coming from that light. A little bit on the wall. And that's pretty much it. Took me not too long. I signed my name over there in blood, which I thought was pretty cool too. And yeah, that's about it. I appreciate y'all guys watching. Make sure you guys stick around for more if you like how this turned out. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.